Well, tonight we're learning more about the death of an 8-year-old named Bentley Robbins. He was found dead in the woods in October. The Walker County Sheriff's Office released the autopsy report on Robbins earlier today. Our Jake Chapman was at the press conference and he joins us in the studio. Jake, how did he die?
Well, Joy, medical examiners and specialists say Robbins died from blunt head trauma, which then led to brain bleeding. They believe that he fell several days before his death. Sheriff Steve Wilson hopes the investigation's findings can give the family closure.
We believe that we have found the truth in this investigation. We believe it to be accurate at this point, and that was what we were striving for from the very first evening we stepped foot on that property.
The results on Friday are part of a multi-agency investigation. Special Agent Steve Rogers with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation says witnesses told him the 8-year-old had some bruises on his face from a fall. His parents and teachers at Chattanooga Valley Elementary were also aware of the fall.
His injuries are consistent with that, with a fall. They're not consistent with abuse or trauma from some other way you would receive that type of head injury.
Later in the week, Robbins showed what they call flu-like symptoms, and they believe those covered up his brain injuries.
There was other kids in the home that were sick from an illness, and that masked what was going on with the brain bleed.
Robbins was taken to the emergency room at a nearby hospital the night before, but left because of the long wait time, and Bentley started to feel better. The next day, he became incredibly sick at school and was taken home by his mother's boyfriend. Joe Montgomery with the GBI says the report rules out any cause of child abuse, which they say has given the family some sense of closure.
When a child dies, we want to make sure that this child did not die by someone else's hand. And if they did, we're going to seek justice.
But the question remains, what did Robbins hit his head on?
With an 8-year-old boy, they just don't fall over and die every day. So we go to extraordinary means to find a result to their death.
Now, charges are not expected to be filed in the case at this time. Sheriff Wilson says Robbins' mother and grandmother were informed about the investigation before we were able to speak with them, and I reached out to both of them, but I've not heard back. In the studio, Jake Chapman, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.